One of the best features of Panasonic's new GX80, also known as the GX85 or the GX7 Mark II, depending on which part of the world you live in, is the in-body 5-axis stabilization. Unlike the in-body stabilization in its bigger brother, the GX8, the stabilization also works when recording 4K video. In this video, I'm going to be comparing 4K video recorded handheld on the two cameras with a variety of lenses, including 3 vintage manual lenses from Tamron. For the first test, I used Panasonic's own 42.5mm f1.7. This lens features Panasonic's Power OIS, and it's also compatible with the dual IS in both cameras. But in the case of the GX8, the stabilization only works for stills or when recording 1080p video. When recording 4K video, the GX8 is limited to using the lens stabilization, while the GX80 uses dual IS. Looking at the footage though, there is very little difference between the two cameras. For the next test, I went for a vintage wide-angle lens, the Tamron Adaptall 28mm f2.5. This lens, being around 30 years old, obviously has no lens stabilization, so the GX8 footage is completely unstabilized, while the GX80 relies solely on the in-body stabilization. The GX8 footage is a little shaky, but nothing that couldn't be smoothed out in post, while the GX80 footage is rock solid and could almost have been shot on a tripod. Increasing the focal length, the next lens I tried was another Tamron, the Tamron SP 90mm f2.5. With the 2.4 times crop factor in 4K video mode on the GX8 and the GX80, this lens has a 35mm equivalent focal length of around 216mm. Again, this is a 30-year-old lens, so has no lens stabilization. The GX8 footage is obviously very shaky, while the GX80's sensor shift stabilization does an admirable job of smoothing out the movement, giving very usable footage considering the focal length. Finally, wanting to see just how far I could push the GX80's in-body stabilization, I tried the Tamron 23A 60-300 at the full 300mm. Giving a 720mm equivalent focal length in 35mm terms. The footage from the GX8 is obviously all over the place, while the GX80 put in an excellent performance, producing some relatively smooth, stable footage. To be able to shoot more or less stable footage handheld on a 30-year-old unstabilized lens at a focal length of over 700mm is pretty incredible.